you're a parent of an autistic child, I recommend patience, understanding, an open mind to what the child is going through and compassion, while also being able to gently correct them into the direction that you want them to go. You could end up with someone that could change the world. My name is Justin. I'm 21. I'm in college studying psychology as a Bachelor of Arts. And I also have hints of what is now autism spectrum disorder. I'm a third culture kid, born in the US, raised in Hong Kong. I was officially tested in grade 5, so my parents knew about it 2 years before I found out. But they were planning to reveal it to me when I was in high school. But the whole problem was that one of my teachers revealed it to me in 7th grade. So I found out basically when I was 13. And I went back to my parents like, Mom, Dad, what is this? Impulsivity is something that I struggle with a lot. Like if you suddenly ask me like, hey Justin, do you want to go out shopping today? I was like, whoa, no. I don't want to. I'm very schedule based because then I know like, okay, it's only just this many hours and then I'm okay. But if it's like a shopping trip and you don't know when it's ending, it kind of provokes a lot of anxiety and it makes you kind of freak out a little bit. I think one of the problems I have is that I take things very literally and I always create a very awkward situation. And even now, like 21 years later, I still have no idea how to break that silence with a good conversation. No matter what, I would always create some sort of like awkward tension or awkward situation that I didn't mean to create. Elementary was not the easiest time for me. I was bullied a lot and basically I had to switch 3 schools so that my mom could basically suit the environment to what I was dealing with at the time. They called me a lot of names. Some of them resorted to physical bullying, retardation, awkwardness, shyness, not being cool enough. Basically everything that my Asperger traits was, I got bullied for it. I think the one attributing factor could be that I was different psychologically, so I was not necessarily normal, and they didn't allow me to necessarily be who I am, or didn't necessarily allow me to be the person that I wanted to be. During my elementary, middle, high school years, I was practically fighting for myself with the help of my parents. Teachers were kind of there, but on the same hand, though, they weren't. There was a few teachers that I got along really well with, but there were a lot of teachers that were a little preoccupied with their duty. A lot of teachers bullied me, actually. A lot of teachers who just failed me just for the sake of failing me because I was different. I had one particular teacher who liked to target me a lot because I was different. One teacher that I had would constantly call me an idiot, or she would constantly swear at my work despite how hard I worked on it. I think the biggest thing that I would have desired from my teachers then was like, hey, could you recognize me as a person, not your target? Back then, I also didn't know that I was being targeted and being bullied by my classmates and my teachers. I was like 18 when I figured that out. I was actually pretty shocked and sad, pretty disappointed in my lack of ability to figure it out. When I told my mom, we're still, even though we're still processing it now, we're also trying to move forward from it and use whatever scars I had to help others in the situation that I was in. Teachers wise, I think like if a teacher has an autistic student in the classroom, give them some support. I think schools should not constantly try to push autistic children to be normal. Like yes, there are autistics like myself who have been in mainstream classrooms and actually thrived and survived it. Teaching them at their own pace would help them greatly. Teaching them not only academic but life lessons too would be beneficial. I wasn't necessarily too involved with everyone in my life, and that's one of my symptoms, so to say, of my autism spectrum disorder. I can make friends very quickly, but keeping them and trying to keep that lower level or deeper connection with them was a challenge in its own right. Elementary, middle school, and high school, I didn't really have a lot of friends to necessarily call my own. It was all very shallow. We hung out a lot. We played video games together, but I didn't really know them. When I came to college, I found a couple friends that I realized that I could talk deeper to or be able to share a lot more of my story or struggles with. But when push comes to shove and someone needs help, we're there for each other. I think particularly for those on autism spectrum disorder, finding friends like the ones I have are few and far between. I think it's plausible if given the right amount of effort. I think that would have been very helpful to have some really close, deep friends that I could share with and that I could rely on. Because of how often I was bullied, it was challenging to find a friend to begin with, let alone to properly associate myself with. You don't have to be super empathetic to the point of a saint, but enough empathy to understand and be able to assist the friend who has autism to be able to cope with their diagnosis a little better. My parents' role also changed when they found out I had autism spectrum disorder. They became a lot more patient. While they were important because it helped me through some very bad points in my life, my mom basically took full brunt of the autism diagnosis, so to say. Trying to understand where I was coming from. My mom taught me social clues, empathy, how to like some tones, how not to be so literal. She basically had to deal with my meltdowns, my anxiety attacks, and basically be able to try to fix me as well. My dad also taught me a little bit like the importance of determination, hard work, also to be passionate about what you love to do. They also let me experience life, so to say. When something was wrong in college, they're not flying 16 hours to help me solve the issue. They helped me to solve it alone and to develop plans, strategies, how to not be so restricted by my diagnosis. Although I have kind of been painting autism in a kind of bad light, living with this actually presents a lot of things I appreciate about it, like being more empathetic towards others in similar positions than I am. Also, having autism helps me to having that constant stubbornness or that constant obsession with things that I like actually surprised my parents a little bit. And then as the conversation grew, I was like, oh my gosh, Justin, you know a lot about this. Be a little more cautious as well. I always try to have a plan A and a plan B. I would always try to arrive there as early as I possibly can. And also having this difference in mindset also helps with like very philosophical or deep conversations. Like when everyone is agreeing on a certain point, I'm somehow always able to see the other side of it and be able to disagree politely. I want to be a counselor and specifically targeting adults who are in similar positions than I am. Having similar experiences helps me to understand what they're going through, be able to empathize, and be able to come up with an action plan that better suits their need using the behavioral approach to psychology.